right, man.
Are we live?
We're live.
We're live, pal.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm great, man. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. Just hanging out, being groovy.
I'm just trying to find this link.
Yeah.
All right,
Retweet it.
Retweet that real quick.
This is going to be entertaining for people.
Sorry.
This is how you live tweet. You live tweet the stream that you're on.
It's a whole new definition.
Yeah.
All right, now that business out of the way.
So welcome to the very first episode of Crafts and Comedians. I have comedian Paul Laier with me. I know him from my improv team, Type 5, that we do at the PAC, or not the PAC, the clubhouse.
At the clubhouse, the second and fourth Wednesdays of the month at 10 p.m. Spike the Punchline. We are the first house team.
Yeah.
Of Spike the Punchline.
Yeah. Just drop by if you're in LA. It's a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, Crafts and Comedians. So every episode, I interview a different comedian, and the conceit of it is they bring on a beer for me to try, one of their favorites. They talk about it a little bit, and then later on in the show, I'll pull out a beer that I think best represents the comedian, and we'll have them try it. So, what's the beer today, Paul?
Oh, man. So, I like dark beer.
Okay.
I prefer that over the most. So, I was going between like a stout or a porter. But most recently, I've been getting into a very specific type of porter, and that is coconut porters. Right here, I got from Maui Brewing Company, the coconut Hiwa. I think that's how you say it. Yeah. But it's very delicious.
All right.
A lot of people, I know it's like a running joke, but people like don't like coconut. Like, you know, you see like someone on like a sitcom and like being given a box of chocolates and they're like, ugh, coconut. I actually really like coconut flavor. I like coconut shavings. I like coconut cream, coconut milk. I think it's all great. And there is just like it's not an overpowering sense of coconut in a coconut porter. But you can taste the hints of it. It's really good, and especially like when it's still cold out. I know it's April, but it's still cold. It's been a cold day in LA today. And so when it's cold
it's
out,
only been like 65 today.
Yeah. Well, when the wind's whipping like it was this morning, it's a cold day. But yeah, a nice dark porter can help keep you warm.
Is this a bad time to say that I'm not a big fan of coconut and I'm the sitcom guy?
No, it's not a bad thing. I think I am in the minority as someone who likes coconut flavor. Have you drinking many coconut porters before?
Oddly, I do like coconut porters. This one's actually really good.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. It's like drinking the coconut milk, chocolate milk. So,
yeah, there you go. Like exactly. They have chocolate milk version of coconut milk, right?
Yeah, they do, right?
Yeah, no, I feel like
I know they had almond because I just crushed a box of that this weekend. So.
Yeah. Well, I feel like if they don't, they must.
Yeah.
Somewhat soon. They're developing it.
If not, we'll put our top mint on that.
Yeah, and it's not like you still get like a little bit of sweetness that you would expect to get from like a coconut flavor, but it's not overtly sweet. Like it's not syrupy, of course, but like, you know, I have had beer where it's like been like advertised as being like blueberry beer or something like that.
Yeah.
It just feels like they took like snow cone syrup and just like dipped it into a bunch of beer before they brewed it. But this doesn't have that at all. If you read the can, it describes itself as a robust dark ale with hand-toasted coconut and hints of mocha. I'm also a big mocha fan.
Oh, yeah.
That's another strange thing I think about me. I don't like coffee, but I do like coffee flavor.
That's weird.
So like I like coffee flavored desserts. So that's why I like mocha and stuff like that. I'm actually getting a mocha cake at my wedding.
Oh, nice. So can you look that? Alfred Novato wants to know, what's your name?
Oh, hey, what's up? I'm Paul Laier.
And I'm Dan Emmons. I should have probably introduced myself too.
That's okay.
I realize that.
If you look at the bottom, that's my name and my Twitter handle.
So, Paul, You're a comedian. You're an LA comedian.
Yeah.
So how'd you get your start?
Well, I started in Florida. I grew up in Miami, but I went to college at University of Florida in Gainesville.
Okay.
And there was a collective there. There was actually a club on campus for stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
It was called the University Stand-Up Comedy Club,
Right.
which acronym was USUC. Yeah. But it was cool. It was basically like a group of students who wanted to be comedians. They just get together once a week, run material by each other, and help each other tool it up. And then the student union building would let us put on a comedy show once a month on like a Friday night. So I had like a comedy club kind of vibe to it, which was really cool. So we weren't just, working jokes for like, the fuck of it. We actually were doing it with like a goal in mind.
Okay.
And then there was like, it was a recognized club by the university too. So that was really fun to do. And then there were like guys in town who worked on the comedy clubs in the state. Those being my friends, Chris Cope and JC Carias.
Okay.
And so they were older than me, so they weren't in college. But they still lived in town. Like I said, like they'd drive to like Orlando, Daytona Beach, Tallahassee, and do like the comedy clubs up and down the state.
Yeah.
So I got in with those guys. The first show I ever did, JC was there, and he liked me, and he ran some shows in town. So I got invited to start doing the other shows in town that weren't just the campus shows. And so slowly I just became friends with more and more comedians until eventually like almost all my friends became comedians. I have like maybe out here, I have maybe one friend who doesn't do comedy.
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Well, like,
You have one?
I even have
No,
one?
you have one. No, I mean, I do have a few friends out here that aren't comedians. But like my roommate, Lee, is actually a comedy producer. So it's just weird how like you just get into that satellite of like comedy people out here. It's interesting. It's like I went from 0 comedy friends before moving here to that's all I hang out with.
Yeah, and I felt like, and I was in a relationship when I started doing stand-up comedy, and I feel like that kind of put a strain on it because we had all the same mutual friends, but then when I started doing stand-up, I started making like new friends, and I wanted to hang out with them, and so we just stopped having mutual friends,
Yeah.
So I don't know if that we eventually broke up. I don't think. Yeah, I also didn't have a bug in my ear to move to Los Angeles until I started really doing stand-up comedy. So, stand-up comedy ended one of my relationships, and when I think about it, improv comedy ended another one of my relationships. So, thank you, comedy, for shipping me. But I am getting married this year, so I'm with the right person now.
Already this year?
Yeah, man, I got engaged last summer.
Yeah. I don't know. For some reason, I thought it was next year.
No.
Huh. Interesting.
It was next year for a while.
Yeah.
But now we're in this year.
When years, the other thing is years tend to blend together here in LA, and like it's weird. It does feel like 2 years, yet it only feels like a couple months I've been out here.
Well, I imagine, especially like someone who comes from a state like Wyoming, who's used to like the weather dictating the time of year, it makes it easier for everything to blend together when the weather kind of stays consistent as far as like the outdoors, Yeah.
When a cold day is 60 degrees.
Well, not even that. It's like you don't have dead leaves, you don't have trees dying, you don't have snow on the ground. If you looked outside today and then you looked outside in November, it would look exactly the same. Yeah. Like if you were in a coma for like however many years, and then you woke up and you looked outside, you wouldn't be able to tell what time of year it was.
Yeah, it's insane. So when did you move out here?
So I moved out here in October 2011. I was kind of spinning my wheels in Florida after I graduated, And one of my best friends from childhood, my childhood best friend, Nicolo, he was living out here, not doing comedy, doing something completely different. And I was like, hey, man, if I move out there, can I stay with you? And he said, yeah. So I was like, well, that's all I really need. It's just like a place to stay. And the rest I can just figure out when I get there.
Yeah.
So I drove out here cross country with my dad. It was a lot of fun. Did a lot of bonding. Stopped in San Antonio, New Orleans, El Paso, and Phoenix on the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I've made my permanent residence Los Angeles since that day.
Nice. So what's the ultimate goal with your comedy?
That's a good question. When I first moved out here, I mean, it was really easy to think of the ultimate goal as just being like the star of every show I'm a part of. I want to headline every theater, every club, like star in movies, basically be
Will Ferrell.
Yeah, basically be like a Will Ferrell or even like a Joel McHale, like something like that. That was the aspire to be. But and I don't mean this to sound sad, but like the longer I was out here, the more I learned to kind of like curb my expectations.
Yeah.
And I think that was important, not as in a sense it's just like, you're going to have to settle for less.
Yeah.
It was more like I can keep my sanity and not get frustrated and quit.
Yeah.
If I curb my expectations some.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to have a career in comedy. So instead of thinking like, oh, I have to be like the Judd Apatow of everything that I do. It's like, if as long as some way or another I'm making a living, working at least, not even necessarily in comedy, but something comedy adjacent.
Yeah.
I consider that success.
Yeah. I definitely had that same, like, oh, I want to do all the things, but then you realize that your time's just so infinite, or finite.
Finite.
So you're just like, well, what do I really want to do? Like, what would make me happy until I move on to another thing?
Yeah, and so many things I've, like, done, I've like, started and stopped. And a lot of the time that I've stopped doing a project is because I've thought to myself, this isn't fun anymore. And so, there's still a ton that I do that I don't make money at. But it's still, like, incredibly fun for me to do.
Yeah.
Like, I'm on as many improv teams as I'm on right now because I think those teams are fun.
Yeah.
And I like doing improv. I don't get paid to do improv, but it's fun to do improv for me. So
3 people get paid to do improv.
Yeah. And they're all...
On Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Right. Or they own a theater.
Or they own a theater. And even then, I'm not convinced. So that's your goal.
Greg's watching.
No. Hey, Greg.
Hey, sucks that it's snowing in Buffalo.
Yeah. Oh God, I was just back in Michigan. So speaking about snow, I just you live here for a while and you're like, hey, I kind of miss snow. Mm-hmm. So I went back to Michigan for a month last month, and it snowed the entire time.
Yeah.
Like after day 2 of this, I'm like, oh, this novelty has worn off. I just want to go back to nice California where it's just 60 is nice. But oh my God, it was horrible. I hate snow.
I can't do snow, man. I've never liked it. I think like as a kid, once we went to Chicago for Christmas.
Yeah.
And it was like cool, but like never again have I been nostalgic for snow, or anything like that.
You also went to I don't even have an analogy for it, but like you went to the hardest place for snow. Like,
oh yeah,
yeah, it's like you didn't get like a light dusting. It's Chicago. You probably got a heavy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's just like. And as far as where I've lived, like I went straight from South Florida to South California.
Yeah.
So like from one orange grove to another.
Yeah.
As I was saying when I first made the move, I'm not equipped for cold weather. I hate it. Even I can't remember the last time I had to like deal with like a proper winter. Probably. I mean, I spent Christmas in Chicago about like 4 years ago, but even then, that wasn't such a bad time that year, at least.
No, and the funny thing is like, even the snow was gone within like 4 or 5 hours, and it's still like, oh, fuck this shit. So what's something that you really love about comedy?
And what I really love about comedy is that it gives me this. Greg just called us wussies for not liking snow, and I guess Greg is loving his situation right there, in Buffalo. But anyway, the show's not about him.
Yeah.
Now, what I love about comedy is it really helps me cope.
Yeah.
Like, I've always, it's even gotten me in trouble, but
I feel that's just comedy.
Yeah, but it's like whenever I felt like depressed or I felt uncomfortable or like I feel like I don't know what to say, like making jokes about the situation always feels like the right thing to do for me.
Yeah.
Like and you know, I try not to do it at other people's detriment, of course. But like if I'm feeling really awkward or guilty about something, I'll just try to make a joke about it. Like it really just helps me cope, whether it's like dealing with like death, whether it's dealing with disease or it's dealing with heartbreak.
Yeah.
Like the minute that I can start making jokes about something, the faster I feel like I can get through it.
Yeah. I'm gonna bring it down here for a bit. I feel the same way. My mom just passed away a month ago.
Yeah.
And it sucked. I'm not gonna lie, but then like I don't remember I don't even remember the first joke, but like a week later, like I was finally able just to make a joke.
Yeah.
Like a tiny little joke, like a dad joke. It's like, hi, hungry, I'm Dan. You know, something stupid like that. And it just made me instantly feel better. And then, oh God, for her service, I got up there and told a story about Mom. About how she was a practical joker, and there was just something like just naturally cracking the jokes in there. Like it sounds like a bad spot to do comedy, but it made everybody feel better. It made me feel better to crack jokes about like a happy memory about Mom. Yeah, and comedy is part of the grieving process for me. Yeah. And then I know other friends who have like felt the same way. Without going into too much details, but it's like, you know, some years ago, like I had like a friend like take his life, and that was like really, really tough. Take his own life, and you know, like I was like talking with my friends who like also knew him, and then we just kind of, and it was like tough to get through, but we did get to a place where we felt like we can make some jokes, not about like the incident, but just about like where we were at now with everything, you know, like kind of like take like at least a little bit more lighthearted approach, because it sure beat the shit out of crying about it. Yeah. All the time. Yeah. Yeah. You just get to the point where you're like you can't, like, it's just like, I don't want to say numbness, but it's just like, if you've been touching like a sore for too long and it just kind of just feels, it's pain, but it's still like... Oh, yeah, you're kind of just doing it out of, like, fascination. Yeah. Instead of trying to hurt yourself or anything like that. Like when you get, like, a canker sore on the inside of your mouth. Yeah. But, yeah, it's why I naturally gravitate towards comedy, too. What's a bad set? What's a bad set? Yeah, What's a bad set that you've had? Oh, well, there's so many. But I remember, so like the first time that I ever did stand up, it was at this like indie rock club called 1982 in Gainesville, Florida. That's when I was born. Yeah. Shout out 1982. Yeah. But I brought like 8 of my friends to that show to watch me perform. And was it a bringer or? No. No, you just... Okay.
I was performing. It was basically an open mic, but my friend Calvin was just like, after like hearing me, so like Calvin ran like that comedy club on campus that I was talking about, and after like me showing up for like I think 2 straight months just telling him my jokes and then not performing anywhere, he was like, okay, there's an open mic this like Tuesday, I'm signing you up and you're gonna come. And then I treated it like it was like a show, so I invited like a bunch of my friends, and 8 of them actually showed up to watch me do stand up. And like it was so weird because so I knew to bring a set list, right? But I never saw a comic with a set list. I only ever saw bands bring set list. So I wrote it and I put it on the floor. Like, you know how... Yeah. So I was doing that. So like, and someone recorded it and I watched it later. So every time that I was done with a joke, I would just stare at the floor for the next joke and tell it. But like, it went well because my friends were there and they were being super supportive.
Yeah.
But that made me think I was awesome.
Yeah.
And so I got asked to do another show at the same place. And I came back, and this time none of my friends were there. And it was me telling the same jokes. And I just didn't understand why no one was laughing. It really hurt my feelings.
I really hardcore to that. I did the same thing, except it was at a music open mic. Which, if there's anything that will make you lose an audience more, is doing comedy in a bar at a music open mic, because the people they're barely there to listen to the music. They're there just to talk to their friends. So, and you're trying to get their attention, and you're kind of interrupting them and having their conversation. But my first time, I did the same exact thing. Had a set list, put it down. I didn't have a set list. I had every joke written out.
Like cue cards almost?
Yeah. I had it, I memorized it too. Like, I was one of those guys who, like, wrote it down, put it in stone. There was no deviating.
No improvisation.
No improv. Just, this is it. I had what I thought was 5 minutes of material. And I invited all my friends. And then I did it. It was 2 minutes of material. Because,
holy shit, that's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah. It was because I was joke. Not just like joke. Hey, how's it joke? You know, kind of pacing it out.
Oh yeah, well you don't know any better.
Yeah. And then, and I thought I did well too, because of course my friends were there. Then I did my first open mic, actual comedic open mic, and oh my god, I sweat bullets so hard. I ate shit too.
That's good though, man.
Yeah.
You're supposed to eat shit. And then, I mean, I've even had professional gigs, too, or like, fuck, what's that place? Oh, Prim, Nevada.
Jesus.
So Prim, Nevada, it's like this weird. There's like nothing in Prim, Nevada. It's basically like after you cross the Nevada state border.
Yeah.
Coming out of California, or at least through Los Angeles. It's basically just like the first casino.
Yeah.
That you can visit, but so it counts as a town. But
I don't think it has an actual population.
No, it's all just people who are like, who think Vegas is too expensive.
Yeah, and also people who just want to get to gambling as soon as they can.
Yeah, from
California.
Yeah, and so like my buddy JC Carias, he took me with him to feature for him, and it was like, you know, one of those gigs. So it was like a Friday, but I remember there was a Saturday show that I did, and just like, and when I was featuring, I had to do like a half hour, and it was like different from all the times where like I bombed at like a mic or some like showcase show, because when I was bombing, it was only like for 5-7 minutes.
Yeah.
But to eat a fucking dick for 30 minutes.
Holy cow.
To go for the first 10 minutes to realize this is not going well.
Yeah.
And to then be contractually obligated
to do 20 more minutes.
I felt so shitty about myself. I just like, and it wasn't like a glamorous room either. It was like basically like a bingo hall. that they just outfitted to do stand-up in that night. And I just, like, after my set was over, I just, like, went outside and I sat on a curb and I hated everything about myself. I was just texting everyone on my phone looking for someone to give me validation.
Validate me.
I was just like, should I quit?
God. That sounds like a nightmare, man. I can't wait till I get to do that.
Hey, it's a rite of passage, and it's fun to talk about later. But in the moment, it sucks.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
to stop the flow of the conversation, so we're coming to the part where I've chosen a beer for the guest, and today we are drinking Bell's Oberon Ale. This is a personal favorite of mine, but also the reason I chose it because if you notice, Paul has a blue hoodie on.
Yep.
It's rare that I see him in any other color. Sometimes he does purple, sometimes he does red, but mostly blue. Also, it's just an easy drinking ale. Paul's an easy guy.
That could go a lot of ways.
It could go a lot of ways. I prefer to think of it as just an easygoing guy, even though he has a podcast called Saint Anger.
Well, had.
Oh, you're not doing it anymore.
Nah.
I haven't checked it out in I haven't checked it out in a month. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's okay. No, I was doing it, and it kind of just... I was feeling kind of overwhelmed with things for a bit, and that was the easiest thing to drop.
Okay. I don't know. I enjoyed it.
I appreciate it, man. We did 116 episodes.
Yeah.
And then it was just kind of like... And I've done other podcasts before, and it just kind of hits a peak, and you can feel it.
Yeah.
In terms of, like... It gets harder to book guests.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, I talk to everyone I want to talk to.
Yeah.
And everyone who wants to be on the show. And then... You're like, what am I going to say that I haven't already said?
Yeah. Interesting.
And, I did it for 2 years, and I felt good about that. So, no hard feelings. But I appreciate you thinking of me when you bought this beer.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I guess that's, like, another thing. Can we talk about this for just a little bit? Just like how much failure comes into, like, a career in comedy.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I know failure very well.
Well, just like there's highs, but then there's no, like, I don't know if there's any making it. Well, there is got to be, like, making it.
Yeah.
But that's like the 1%. That's like Will Ferrell, Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Kind of like level.
Yeah. I mean, even like, I'm trying to think, like Todd Barry's still making it, you know, like, not an insult on Todd Barry or anything, but like there's
he's not made.
Yeah, he's not made.
It's like Todd Barry could just as easily just like stop getting, maybe not just as easily, but like if he just stopped getting booked, he wouldn't be. I think he'd have to go get a job.
He'd have to go get a day job. Crap. It's like not a lot of people can be like Jim Carrey. You're just like, I'm just done with stuff now, and I'm just gonna paint.
Oh my god, yeah. Well, I just want to like, and like you kind of have to start as many projects as you can.
Yeah.
Like
Hence this.
Right, since this. So if you got an idea of a podcast, go out and do it. If you have an idea for a blog, a book, or a script, write it. If you want to start an improv team, like, do it. If you want to do open mics, like, you got to go out and do it. But it's totally okay to come to terms when something just isn't working for you.
Yeah.
It's like I was saying earlier about, is this still fun?
Yeah.
And I've started podcasts. I've done them. I've had a lot of fun doing them. Then at one point, it just got not as fun to do anymore. Not that I hated it. It's just like, I've been doing this for 2 years. It's not as fun anymore. And then, like, I've stopped, and then, like, a year or however long goes by, and I'm just like, oh, you know what? It'd be fun to do a podcast again. And that's not, like, specific to podcasts. That's specific to, like, any sub-area of comedy that you do. So, I think as long as you're honest about, like, why you're doing it, because if you're not doing it for you anymore, then it's okay to let go.
Yeah. No, it's like, I've quit stand-up. Mm-hmm. At least for a couple years now. But then, like, now I'm getting that itch again. I'm like, I need to do stand-up again. I need to get out there. Get that
Same,
joke.
Man.
Yeah. And improv, like, I don't know, there's just been a thing recently where it's like, obviously I like playing with you guys and stuff, but... Uh-oh.
Oh, we're good.
No, we're good. We had some technical difficulties there. But, there's teams that I have fun with, and then there's, let me check the other thing here. Sorry, getting paranoid, audience members. But there's also just like I don't know, whatever the fun of learning improv has kind of gone to the wayside for me.
Oh, yeah.
I
think about that too, because I've only gone through like one school.
Yeah.
But then I hear about all these people who are like, oh, I studied at Second City and UCB.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, fuck, is that what I got to do?
Yeah.
But then I'm just like, I don't got that kind of time. I don't got that kind of
cash
right now. And so I'm just like, is it okay that I just like keep learning from just performing?
Yeah.
I
like, honestly, that's what the first people in improv did. Like,
yeah,
they just learned by performing, and like, almost every improv teacher I've had is like, you learn by doing shows.
Yeah, and I still like, I have teams that like practice too, and like we have coaches and stuff like that, and I feel like, well, I'm already meeting up once a week.
What's it like to practice?
Dude, it's fun. I have 2 teams that practice every week.
Yeah. There's a lot of teams in this town that don't like practicing.
Well,
even though, I mean, we are on one, but yeah, but that's like, I think our team would not work if we practiced.
No, if we practice, I think we'd break up.
Yeah. That's true. No, it's just, I like Type 5. It's a fun team.
I think of it as like recess.
Yeah.
So if like my other teams are kind of like, I don't know, like arithmetic and fucking language arts, then Type 5 is PE.
What kind of other teams are you on?
No, it's just like, no, because we practice.
Yeah.
And because we practice, we go into the show being like, okay, guys, let's actually put everything we did in practice on stage here. But with Type 5, because we don't practice, we don't feel like we have to follow any rules.
Yeah, you can go as heady or abstract as you want on Type 5, which I really enjoy.
Yeah.
Like, if you got, like, even the smallest little premise idea, you can just go with it. Or if it's just me wanting to pick Paul up and spin him around, I've done that.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just like, you know what? Let's just do something really physical.
Yeah.
And not worry about the open.
Yeah. And then also because it's also a team full of people who've done stand-up, which is a rare thing for those who don't follow improv or stand-up. It's a rare breed of person that does both stand-up and improv. And we have a team of that, so you get people like Paul or Dean or Leah who will just like, oh, here's a tag, here's a tag, here's a tag. And it's just rapid fire, and it's great. It's fun. I have problems keeping up, though.
I have problems keeping up, too.
Yeah. It's like everybody's already on like 2 moves ahead of me. I'm like, oh, I have it. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, well, Dean has no problem being in every scene.
God, and I have problems on being in any scene. There's a running gag where I'm getting pushed on stage a lot.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, other than comedy, another passion of yours is wrestling.
Yeah, dude. I love it.
Yeah. Specifically bar wrestling, which Like I know my WWF or
Uh-huh.
WWE
Yeah.
and WCW.
Yeah. Ted Turner.
But I'm not really familiar with bar wrestling.
Yeah, so bar wrestling is like it's a Southern California thing, and it just started a little less than a year ago. They're coming up on their year anniversary. Um, but I don't know. Have you heard of this guy Joey Ryan?
No.
He went viral a few years ago with basically the penis plex. It's this. Oh,
Okay.
we'll have to look it up later.
Okay.
For all of you who don't know, just look up Joey Ryan penis plex. It was something that he did in Japan. It went viral, and then he got like some internet fame off of it.
Okay.
So, but he's a local guy. Like he grew up in Southern California, still lives in Southern California, and he started his own promotion called Bar Wrestling, and it's very much like a concert. So they put like a ring up in an American Legion post. You pay the GA price, which is like $20,
Okay.
and there's no seating, there's no chairs. You just get there when you want. They have a full bar available, and then you just like stand up and you just watch the show.
Nice.
And they have a huge array of types of wrestling. Like they'll have lucha libre, they'll have strong style.
What's strong style?
A strong style is really just like a lot of strikes,
Okay.
but like not pulling punches or anything.
Okay.
Like trying to hit you hard to try to like prove a point. But also like there's a lot of comedy
Okay.
involved in it too. Like, and there's a lot of comedy in wrestling in general, but bar wrestling really likes to hit the comedy. Like on a show that I went to back in February, there was a team. It was like a tag team match, and one of the guys got knocked out, and his partner was like, "Oh no! If the referee sees that he's knocked out, we lose the match."
Yeah.
So he got in and he picked up his partner and he just leaned him in the corner and put sunglasses on him and did a total Weekend at Bernie's routine so that the referee wouldn't call the match on account of knockout. They were just pretending that his partner was conscious the whole time. And it was great. And and another cool thing that they do is that so they don't believe in gender classifications.
Oh.
At bar wrestling. So women and men fight each other. Like they wrestle each other. Like so I went to a show last week and the opening match was this guy Scorpio Sky versus Tessa Blanchard. So they had a few like men on women matches. They had women on women matches. They had men on men matches. And then there was like this big like tag team match. Two of the tag teams were all male. One of the tag teams was a man and a woman, and the other tag team was all women. So it's just really cool to kind of see that type of like intermingling because we talk about. I don't know why I'm saying we talk about.
Yeah.
But I know like in sports, it gets discussed a lot about whether or not one day a woman is going to be able to like play in like the NFL or Major League Baseball, NBA, something like that. But wrestling is like the one sport, and yeah, I'm going to call it a sport. Call me a fucking virgin nerd all you want. But wrestling is like the one sport where a woman could feasibly hang, like, with like the men in the same athletic display.
Yeah. I mean, even in like quote unquote real wrestling,
like
high school, college level, there were like in the middle of, because I'm originally from Wyoming, and there's not a lot of people in Wyoming. Like sometimes girls would be invited to wrestle on the boys' meets.
Yeah, no, I would,
and they would kick ass at it too.
Yeah, I went to a few wrestling tournaments myself in high school where you get there and it'd be a girl and some people would be like, ha! Yeah. I gotta wrestle a girl.
I gotta wrestle. Yeah.
But yeah, man, they're just as athletic and just as talented.
Yeah.
And as like I ever was.
Yeah. More than I was.
Yeah. In my high school wrestling career.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just bar wrestling in particular, it just has a really positive atmosphere. I took a couple of friends to the last show who had never been to a wrestling show before.
Wow.
And they loved it. I thought it was great. They liked all the inclusion of women. They liked the varieties. Like you had your matches on that card that were just like straight wrestling. You had your matches on the card that were like more comedy, but there was just no matter where you were looking on the card or where you were in that show, you were able to drink, you were able to have fun, and you were able to feel part of a community.
Nice. So it's a lot like punk rock.
Exactly. Definitely bar wrestling is like punk rock wrestling.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, do you have anything to plug? Any shows coming up? Any specials? Any
New
podcasts?
You can see me on my hour specials. Going to be on C-Sound. No.
Is that even still around?
No, it's gone.
It's gone?
Dead.
Oh.
I think like there's still like archive footage, but as far as like new footage, that's not going to be the deal.
Jeez.
But I do play on. So it used to be called the Nerdist School.
Oh yeah.
But now it's called the Ruby.
And dope. Speaking about inclusion.
Yeah. No. And the Ruby. What I love about it now, it's that it's a fully functioning independent theater.
Yeah.
So like, and the people who own it are fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like, anybody who's involved in the Ruby, immediately you'll be on a first name basis.
Nice.
With the people involved. It's really cool, and it's just like it's a group of people who have like no corporate backing or anything like that. It's like we gotta get people into these shows so we can pay the rent. It's really cool environment. It just like April is like its first month. It's like newly born. But so I'm on a house team at the Ruby. We perform every Sunday night in the 9 o'clock hour of house team night, and the team's called the Voltage. Come see me on that. Second and fourth Wednesday of the month, you can see me with Type 5 on Spike the Punchline. And then my social media as it's displayed right here. At Paul Brawl on Twitter, at Paul Brawl on Instagram. And that should cover it.
Yeah. All right. Well, cheers, Paul.
Cheers, Dan.
And thank you for tuning in to Crafts and Comedians.
Bonsoir.